recently heard somebody commented. It says, "Well, I'm pretty much immune to all this social upheaval. I own my house. I mean, I paid off my mortgage. I own my cars. I don't have any debt. I own my stuff." They said, "You don't own anything. Your house, you don't own your house. You have to pay tax. You stop paying your taxes on your house, and you lose your house. So you rent your house from the whatever municipality you're renting it from. Your stuff, burn it. They'll burn it right to the ground. Where are you going to put it? Where are you going to hide your stuff? I have a lot of stuff too. Everybody has stuff. Where are you going to put it when they come to loot it and burn it? Right? You're going to get a steel container, tear it open and get it. Right now, the mob is so crazy. Right now, Black Lives Matter, just so there's no confusion, Black Lives Matter and Antifa are instruments of it. They're controlled by the Israeli Mossad. Israeli intelligence controls Black Lives Matter and Antifa, especially Antifa. Black Lives Matter is starting to see possibly some fissures because people like myself are sounding the alarms, warning them that the leadership of Black Lives Matter cannot be trusted because they got that money from Israel, from Jewish bankers. Okay. But Antifa is completely a covert operation of Israeli intelligence. 100%. Rigid command structure. Okay? And you ask anybody, even William Barr, idiot, doesn't know anything. They all repeat the same mantra. Oh, Antifa is not an organization, it's an ideology. No. It's an organization. It's an intelligence operation run out of Tel Aviv. Just so that there's no confusion. So if there's any FBI agents out there who are not working for Israeli intelligence, and I'm sure there are some, but I haven't met them. If there are some people that have a shred of decency and a shred of patriotism or whatever, it's a word that's come under attack because it's been so used by the wrong people. But if you care about your family or your history or your heritage or your country or your future, Antifa is run out of Tel Aviv, man. Of course. The purpose of Antifa is to sabotage the American experiment because this is the Samson option. When Israel always said, if we see our narrative failing, if we see our control slipping away, we'll do the Samson. We'll pull the ripcord and take everyone down with us. Well, they're not going down because they've seen their profits double. Right? Because all our politicians are sold out to Israel. All the senators and all the congressmen and all the tops of most of the intelligence agencies and military work for Tel Aviv. I hate to bust it to you, but the United States military and the United States intelligence operations actually are run out of Israeli intelligence. How could this be? How could this be? It's simple. What's the salary of the head of NSA? What's the pay grade there? What, about 200,000, 220,000 maybe for the top of the NSA? What's the FBI director make? 250,000 max? Couldn't be making. I seriously doubt he's making 300,000. That's nothing. Don't you see the money that we get? The $38 billion that these scumbags in Congress steal from our families and our future to give to these fucking filthy lowlife scumbags over in Israel. That $38 billion, they just funnel a portion back to give these people. It doesn't have to a payout. It doesn't even have to be a direct cash payout. But I'm thinking many times it is. It's an implicit, but it's an invitation to, hey, come to Israel. We're gonna talk to you a little bit about our cooperation agreement, and we're gonna have some agreements where we, a technology agreement, technology cooperation. Oh yeah. As they steal every fucking thing they can. And that's what they've been doing for the last 70 years, stealing everything and selling it to China now. Of course. Anyone with any FBI agent worth his salt will know this. It's only not that they haven't produced report after report for the last 30 years saying Israel is just completely stealing everything. So it's not like the FBI hasn't already produced hundreds of reports of that. NSA, the Newsweek, the mainstream media, go type in Israel stealing secrets from the U.S. Even Google is trying to block it and they can't. There's so many articles about how Israel has basically stolen everything. I don't even know where I began this conversation. I had a thought, and of course it goes to the same place. The people who are sabotaging the society. Back to this idea that you own your house and you own your stuff. Black Lives Matter has already shown the political leadership of the cities, the governors. They've already shown their willingness to have their police forces stand down, to have certain areas completely vandalized and looted. That's not by accident. When you see like a Walmart or a Target, the footage of these Target stores where they're just smashing the windows and completely emptying the store out, you think that's not allowed to happen? You think that there's no cops within miles of the center of the city where there's a Target? This is in the middle of American cities. We have footage of this wide-scale looting in the middle of major cities. I'm sorry, but there's cops at least every fucking 5 inches in these cities. So if they're going in for an hour looting and destroying Target, hello? Knock, knock. Is there anybody in there? It was because it was allowed. It was because it was planned to be like that. Knock, knock. Anybody home? If your town or village or your city or your person steps out of line, Antifa, Black Lives Matter could come to your person, place, village, city, or town anytime they're told and completely burn it down, loot it, and ransack it. The people who are doing the looting and the ransacking and the burning have no clue they're working for Israel. They have no clue of this. They think they're doing it for black rights or LGBTQ rights or sustainability or the environment, whatever the fake or the organization is, the front of what it is. Right? So Black Lives Matter, again, if you look at who finances, is Jewish banking and families and foundations, 100%. Completely compromised at the top. That's all they have to do. That's how they do it with the Senate. That's how they do it with the FBI and the NSA. They just get the guy at the top, who's God of every organization, and they own the entire organization. Hello. And that's how they did it with the executive. But they don't with Trump. But they don't fully control everything. But they control a good portion of Trump's view. And now he's completely isolated. So he'll never get any of this information. He doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know what he's doing. He has no idea about this information. He may have some inkling that there's something's not right about this COVID, but he doesn't exactly know that Israeli intelligence planted this in Wuhan. So that, like, investigators would say, oh, well, see, it happened. The first breakout was with this Wuhan lab. And, of course, it was near a lab that dealt with that. So, therefore, it must be the Chinese. Well, if you're going to set somebody up, you're not going to plant it in the woods. You're going to plant it near a lab that deals with coronavirus, so that researchers are going to say, oh, see, I discovered that something. See, I made the connection. There's a lab there, and then there's a virus. So it must be the Chinese that did that. Nothing. It's not like Israel doesn't have a fucking 60-year history of doing setups like this, false flags like this. And it's not like they don't have the able, willing, and ready assistance of the U.S. intelligence. Absolutely, they do. Not every single person. That's why it's so compartmentalized. So there will be an elite core, within our intelligence and military that are very, very much on board with this program. That's why every single branch of the military prepared in the months leading up to this and in the years since 2005, but more intensified in 2015 to 2018. Every single leader of every single branch, and you don't take my word for it, every single one was asked, you come up with a contingency plan. You come up with a plan in the event that we have a massive pandemic. And they all did. The Joint Chiefs of Staff, Homeland Security, NSA, FBI, CIA, Air Force, military, Air Force, Marines, Navy, Army. Every single branch of the government. DIA, DOD, they all issued reports. What would we do if, in the event that we just so happen to get a massive pandemic like really soon, that we haven't had in 100 years, but Bill Gates and Fauci, they think it's coming, yeah, and the pharmaceutical companies too, and the bankers and the Rothschilds. Because that's ultimately what this goes back to. This is the city of London. This is the Rothschilds Bank, basically. They're the ones who are in control of everything. Do they have their direct fingers on it? Nope. There's so many tertiary and quaternary organizations that are so removed. They make treaties and they make intergovernmental agreements and they make committees and commissions and unions. It was a European community first, then it was a European Union, and that morphed, and then it was the ERM, the exchange rate mechanisms, and all this. This is the way to filch every nickel from every worker in the Western world, from every family, to filch all the money. And it goes right back to the City of London, right back to the Rothschilds Bank. Not all of it, but a big chunk of it better go back. Or else if you're a banker and you don't pay your VIG to the boss in the Rothschilds Bank of England, you're not going to be a bank for very long. And so people like Soros, who they say, oh yes, he's the left, he's the left wing, and the left wing of the Rothschilds Bank. Oh no, he's the enemy of Israel. No, Israel and Israel is the right hand, the right arm of Rothschilds, and the Soros would be, and the Hollywood would be like the left arm, and Epstein's be somewhere in the middle, with all the child sex. That serves both sides. It serves Hollywood, because they're the ones and the elite. They're the ones who call themselves the liberal elite. They're the ones who want to fuck the children. But it would be the state of Israel that processes that information and uses it in blackmail. So there, with Epstein, you have both the right and the left converging. You got Soros, who got his first $100,000 from I think the guy's name was there was the French branch of the Rothschilds, whose name is Edmund de Rothschild, and he gave him his first chunk of change around the end of the 60s. I think that's when it was, around 68, 69. And then 20 years later, roughly, he shorted the British pound sterling, and they called the Black Wednesday, it was called back then. And that was the Rothschilds, the French House of Rothschilds, torpedoing the British pound sterling, and then of course swiping it up at a low rate. And that's what they do. I mean, they know how to torpedo the economy of various nations, and then sweep up and do get some sweet deals. And that's what they're doing near America right now. But the thing about it is, America doesn't have that many assets. China actually has the assets. They have the gold. They have the factories. We don't have that anymore. Now we have Lockheed, Boeing. We have the military-industrial complex, and if they're able to put that out of business, then Rothschilds is going to get some sweet deals on Raytheon, Lockheed Martin. Not that they don't have a big position in it already, but they'll own the whole thing. Then we're in deep shit when they have the complete control of the entire apparatus, and they might possibly do it. Forget about Forbes rating for the billionaires, because the Rothschilds rate very low. They say, oh yeah, Rothschilds only have, I don't even remember what they said they had, 18 billion or 30 billion or some low number. No, there's estimates. It's up there was around 500 trillion or something. It's like, it's in the trillions, so it's not billions. Okay, and when you've been doing it for 260 years or something, since 1777 or 74 or something like that, yeah, you're able to hide your money. You hide your money in the various central banks as the owner. Bank of International Settlements has 14% outstanding privately owned shares that nobody knows who owns, issued in France and Belgium, and the original offerings that was in the U.S., which was in the 1930s, to finance Hitler, by the way. That was Rothschilds and their agent. It was, oh my God, it's all these scumbags are hard to remember. It was. Lazard Brothers, but it was the central bank. Oh my God! I'll type it in. I know what it is. I just can't remember. But what the fuck was it? It was a Rothschild agent, and his Rothschilds. It was this. The sister, Carolyn Warburg. It was Carolyn Warburg who married into Lionel, I think it was Rothschild, but the older sister of Paul Warburg, who started the Bank of International Settlements to finance Hitler, and his older sister married the head of the Rothschilds Bank, of the biggest branch of it. There's several branches. So there's the connection there, and of course the holdings of the Rothschilds was so much bigger than the Warburgs at the time, so obviously that's how hierarchies of money work. Whoever has more money is on top of the person who has less money. I mean, that's how it works today, and that's how it worked back then. Especially if you marry into it, and it's a hierarchy of power, and that's how this world is set up. Now, when I start talking about all this stuff, I start telling half the work that I do is as populist messages for people to wake them up, and then the other half of my work is way too complicated for the average soccer mom, because I'm trying to reach several audiences. One, I'm trying to reach out to the soccer moms to educate them, and that's completely frustrating example, because they're like, oh, Bill Gates is so good, man, because he gave money to black kids. It's like, okay, so that's half of the message. Then the other half of the message is for like investigative journalists and stuff, because I've been doing this since they were 3. I'm older than they think, and a lot of these people, I remember dealing and writing about this stuff that was happening in the 80s when these people weren't even born. So a lot of the information is to reach out to investigative journalists and writers and publishers. Okay. Problem is that since those people are more concerned about their ability to have a job or something, or their reputation, so when I say, okay, so all the, for example, I'm trying to expose the fraud that is the foundation system. The foundation system is basically Jewish financiers and Jewish money and Jewish bankers. Okay, so I explain it really clearly that this is how the flagging, the failing narrative of Jewish suffering and Jewish Holocaust porn and all this stuff that is collapsing, and that Gen X and Z doesn't care about it, doesn't want to hear about it. Okay, well, I explain that the reason why this foundation is so active in say, oh yes, LGBTQ, save the dolphins, and don't forget Jewish. Yeah. And the whales, you have to save whales, and the plight of the Jewish people. Basically all foundations for all causes are about propping up Jewish supremacism or Jewish privilege or just the survival of, the narrative of Jewish power and the survivability of it. So even the environmentalism it's like you want to talk about sustainability. It's about sustaining the Jewish narrative of Jewish power, Jewish supremacy, Jewish suffering, Jewish Holocaust porn, whatever you want to call it. And so when I tell this to people about, when I reach out and I give this information to, to whoever watches it, and I think quite a lot of people, I know quite a lot of people do, I get feedback from people saying, well, journalist X over here is obviously watching your stuff, and they're all talking about it. But they're leaving out the part about the Jewish bankers. So they're saying, oh yeah, foundations, but be careful, it goes back to the DNC. They'll say, DNC, as if there is, a DNC is J. The RNC-J. But they won't go there because, either they're Jewish or they are afraid, they're fear pushers. So when you hear a journalist say, oh yes, we have to be cautious, don't be fooled by foundations because it's really secretly backed by the Democratic National Committee. Are you fucking kidding me, man? Okay, so have a little get a fucking spine, man. Get a spine. If you're afraid to say it goes back to Jewish bankers, say it's powerful Zionist interests. If you feel that you need to cover the J word with the Z or the I word, go ahead. But don't fucking lie to people and say the DNC, because the DNC is a powerless. If you look at the money of the DNC, it's like chump change. It's nothing. Hillary Clinton is a chump. Hillary Clinton, the big power behind the DNC. How many millions do you think Hillary Clinton has? Even what she has in her fucking cheesy foundation, which is failing, by the way, that's nothing. That's nothing. How many billions are in that? I don't even know. But it's nothing compared to the City of London. So if you're not gonna be honest, then just please put a disclaimer in front of your report saying that I'm only going to take you so far. I'll take you to the DNC, or I'll take you to this. I'm not going to go to where Vox goes because Vox tells it to you like it is, And I can't go there because I want to keep my job. Then just say that and point people to our broadcast. And trust me, I don't want to fucking do this, man. I don't want to do this shit. I have better things to do. I was in the middle of a series of paintings that are going to be worth a lot of fucking time, energy, and historical value and money too. And I was building a collection of very, very, very rare contemporary art from very interesting, some of the world's greatest contemporary artists ever. And so now I have to deal with this fucking bullshit from these bankers that are pulling the plug on it. So if you're not going to tell the truth, then just say, then I took you this far, Now you have to go to Vox because he's going to tell you the rest of the story. And if you see journalists that are not telling the complete story, will you just accost them and ask them why they're not telling the story? Say Vox is, and if you're afraid of any of the things I say, just disavow. Just say, look, I'm not saying that. Vox is. Blame him. Attack him. Call him an anti-Semite. Like that some professor, some douchebag in Portland, some Portland anti-fascist professor tried to attack me for being anti-Semite. This guy, Alexander Reed Ross, dick. Totally uncharismatic dick that nobody would care about. He's just wasting his blasting his mouth off and doesn't know what he's talking about. And he's working for Israel. I think he's an agent of Zionist Israel scum, basically, pretending that he's anti-fascist by coming out with some convoluted theory about the history of fascism, and he fails to mention Israel. Oh, isn't that convenient? I love that kind of I love that kind of anti-fascism, the one that leaves out Israel and works for Zionist causes. I see that's really good. Fucking total fraud. I can't imagine why any young person would want to listen to some doughy, kind of goofy guy who doesn't know shit, right? Who's spouting off the same thing over and over again. He writes a book and he gets acclaimed by whatever, I guess Jewish publishers or something. Just total imbecile, total dickhead. And I challenged the guy. I said, all right, prove your point. Debate me anytime, anywhere. And the fucking douchebag declined. But what I'm saying is, if you're afraid of this information, just say, blame Harry Vox. Accuse him. Have it out with him. Right? Argue with Harry Vox. It's Harry Vox saying this, not me. I'm just giving you what he said. He's saying it's the Jewish bankers that are behind everything. Not me. Just, that's your excuse, right? And I'll take the heat. I'll deal with these fucking scumbags. You know, I've been doing it all my fucking life. Right? But as far as you owning anything, you being safe in your home, they could come and burn your fucking house down anytime they want, and there's not a damn thing you could do about it. Because they're fighting fascism, and they're for black lives, and they're for fucking whatever the fuck their bullshit causes, whatever their cause is, masquerading as their cause, but what is actually City of London, Bank of Rothschilds, and the subsidiaries, all the other capos down the line who cash in and give whatever portion of it, probably a pretty healthy portion, back to the big boss. And if anybody has any problems with it, just talk to me. Blame me. Accuse me. I'll have it out with you.